It is now 4 o'clock. Our meeting will begin. We always start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Before we can you hear me? No. I don't know why I asked that.
Not to understand what you're saying.
I'll pull it out.
Okay.
You can't hear Linda, you can't hear.
You can't hear anybody. First of all, good afternoon. I would like to start by saying thank you to all of you for being here this afternoon and caring enough to attend this afternoon's meeting. By showing up, we recognize how much you care about our kids, our teachers, and our community. All of us on the board are parents as well. And as parents, we know this is one of the best or hardest jobs we may ever have. Last meeting, we voted and sent our governor a resolution in which we asked for local control regarding the masks, but it was denied. So it's important for you to know that we did try. But as elected officials, we took an oath to follow all state and local mandates and laws, and by not following them, we would in essence be breaking the law. Last meeting, a parent made a comment about us putting money over the welfare of their child. This personally bothered me, as I'm sure it did other board members. This couldn't be further from the truth. These are our children and our teachers who we represent, and we always try to do what's best for them. I think it's important for everyone to understand the funding restraints that we are under. The state has threatened to withhold funding if the mask mandate is not enforced. The state controls over 99% of our funding. What this means is that the employees of the district, our bus drivers, food service, teachers, your neighbors and friends, would not be getting a paycheck. The schools would be closed and our kids would be stuck at home. That's what happened before.
Which they've been already.
While their parents go to work. You know, we get it, as I already stated. All of us on the board are parents. And this is an emotionally charged issue. I think we can all agree what is best for most kids is for them to be in school. Last year, we worked very hard to have that happen. As a parent, we all have choice. As a district, whatever choice you decide, we will be there to support you. Thank you. We're going to move on to our business, item B, approval of a flexible agenda. This is where we reserve the right to take items in a different order to accomplish business in the most efficient manner. Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, so trustee Newman, motion, and trustee Angus approved it. Is there any public comment on this item?
Yes.
Okay.
When would we be informed? Not there.
It just would
When
be,
would we be informed of any change in order of that? Like, what is the time?
you will know. You will know. Yeah. We're gonna. We should. There is agenda.
There's one
over there.
agenda item. So
It's just one agenda item.
Oh, I thought you meant
But
going
you-
forward.
But you didn't know that, and that's okay.
No. All right.
Thank you for asking.
Usually there's about 20.
We always ask for public comment after we make a motion to see if everything wants. Okay, so no public comment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Oh, was Doug online? I didn't know that. Sorry, Doug. You can give me a thumbs up, huh? Thank you. I'm sorry, I mistake that. Motion passes 7-0. Okay. Item 2 is public comment. But if you've never been here before, you wouldn't understand how this is going to work. I'm explaining this to you now. So this public comment is where we take comments from our public are invited this time on topics not specifically addressed elsewhere in the agenda. We did provide a sign-up sheet. So what happens here is this would not be, you could talk about anything at this time except the mask. That will be in our next item, okay? Except for what? Except for the reopening plan, that's all right, don't mask. The reopening plan, okay? So, for public comment, you will be allowed 3 minutes to speak. Trustee Chichester has cards, just to make it simple, where he will, and I'll let you explain that, go ahead.
Yeah, at 2.5 minutes, I'll hold up the yellow card. That gives you 30 seconds to kind of conclude your remarks. And when I hold this up, you have to just conclude your remarks.
Okay, so now, what we're going, is anyone here that wants to speak on public comment other than the reopening plan? And if you do, you need to make sure you sign in. Okay, come on up, you come on. You're good. There's a list over there. Did you pull it, Joe?
Just for other than public comment for the masks, right?
So for the, it's called our opening plan, yeah, which includes the mask. So this would be for something other than that. Okay, and you want to talk about something other? Okay, good. Why don't you come up, and what we'd like you to do when you do come up is state your name for the record. Okay.
Denise Romeo. I am not going to speak about this topic because it's a needed topic and I have had to speak with some of the board members already on this topic. But I would like for the board to consider putting the issue of critical race theory on the
Okay. Thank you, Denise.
What about a microphone for the people that are speaking? We can hear it.
There is one right here.
Oh, we couldn't hear her.
Oh, I'm
I
so
can ask
sorry.
about critical race theory. Be on the agenda.
Her name is Denise Baronio, and she asked for the critical race theory to be put on the next agenda. If you didn't hear this, okay? All right, good. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 3, which is the presentation of the 21-22 safe return to in-person instruction. And this will be delivered by our superintendent, Mr. Keith Lewis. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you, President Gilbertson and members of the board. I appreciate the opportunity to address you this afternoon prior to the start of my presentation on Douglas County School District's safe return to in-person learning and continuity of services plan. In May of 2020, I assumed my role as DCSD superintendent with a clear understanding of my responsibility to follow the law, and with the commitment that I would never bring any policy, proposal, or plan before the board that was not legal. Today will be no exception. The plan I brought before the board today demonstrates DCSD's commitment to getting our schools back to normal in areas where we have local control, such as physical distancing, capacity, and large gatherings. This plan also adheres fully to Directive 047, which has the power of the law, in the one area we do not have local control, which is face coverings. I believe I speak for the board and myself in stating that we are all tired of wearing face coverings. As a parent, I was seriously hoping that August 9th would be the day that my own children did not have to wear a face covering as a condition for attending a DCSD school. I feel it's important to express my belief that neither the board or myself are an enemy of the anti-mask advocates. A month ago, this board unanimously approved a resolution that asked Governor Sisolak to give local control of all mitigation methods to the board of trustees and to terminate all mandatory provisions within the current emergency directive and any supplemental guidance governing the mandatory use of face coverings by students, staff, and visitors to a school building. As for myself, I continue to advocate tirelessly for local control of all mitigation methods, and I have pushed for meetings between the governor's office, the Nevada Department of Education, and the Nevada Association of School Superintendents to address our concerns with the mandates that we continue to face and to challenge the metrics by which they have used to determine Douglas County as a high transmission risk. As I outlined in the plan before you this evening, we represent approximately 5,300 students and 900 employees. Within this group, there are a lot of diverse needs and expectations regarding how the district should handle this pandemic. As board members and as the superintendent, our personal views should not supersede our collective obligation to follow the law and adhere to Directive 047. Our obligation to provide our employees with safe and healthy working conditions as required in our employee contracts,
and our obligation to not place DCSD in jeopardy of losing funding as has been threatened by the Nevada Department of Education. I have heard people say the mask mandate is legal, yet there has not been a court ruling to date in Nevada that supports that, that supports that claim. I have heard people say that the decision to follow state mandates is all about the money and we don't care about the well-being of our students. To those who think that, I ask if you have seriously thought about the alternative. If the state were to withhold 99.1% of DCSD's funding, DCSD would not be able to provide any educational services or opportunities to our school, as we would not have the funding to run our district facilities and operations or pay our employees. There is not a single COVID-19 mitigation measure that can come close to creating the mental health crisis we'd experience in Douglas County if we are unable to operate our schools and educate our students. I suppose the board could decide to play chicken with Governor Sisolak and or the Department of Education to see if they would actually withhold funding, but I would never encourage the board to do so. Should you decide to venture down that path, I believe you are not only risking the loss of resources that allow us to educate our students, but you are also gambling with the lives of our employees and the district's ability to honor the contracts we have committed to. Finally, as our legal counsel advised several months ago, any failure to follow the law could also open the district to litigation, employee grievances, OSHA sanctions, and increased liability exposure. I close by acknowledging the frustration and fatigue caused by COVID-19 and its impact on our lives and the lives of our school community. I remind everyone that Douglas County School District was one of the few districts in this country that provided an opportunity for full or partial in-person learning for the entire 2020-21 school year. To accomplish that feat, we had to make sacrifices, and we are called on once again to make similar sacrifices as we start the 2021-22 school year, doing everything possible to have the students of Douglas County engaged in-person learning and to ensure we keep our schools open and students in our buildings where they belong. As your superintendent, I will continue to fight for local control moving forward. I will also work collectively with our local health officials to ensure we are doing everything possible to minimize risks to students and staff. Thank you. Tony?
I need to make an announcement because I'm considered an employee. I'm an elected official, but I'm an employee. So my doctor said I have an immune to the COVID-19. I had a blood test, a T-cell blood test, and I'm immune. I cannot get it, and I cannot give it to anybody. And then he gave me this here to wear. I have a note that because I had a stroke and I had lung problems, I am legally, from my doctor, I cannot wear a mask. So I want to make that announcement that I'm not doing this on purpose. It's a medical issue. Thank you.
What about face shields?
We're not open for discussion on this, sorry.
Do you want to pull up presentations? John? Are you my clicker? Okay, thank you. So tonight, before you, as you know, July 13th, I brought a similar plan before you. So tonight, I'm just going to highlight the changes, realistically, the changes from the plan that you approved on July 13th. So I do want to start off with, go ahead, John. Okay, thank you. With a disclaimer that it's aligned to the current most state mandates which are contained within the Declaration of Emergency Directives. Douglas County School District continues to remain actively engaged with the Nevada Department of Education and the Governor's Office in an effort to secure local control of all mitigation methods. As new directives are released, the district will adhere to guidance and directives of local, state, and federal authorities as amended, and we'll adjust our plan accordingly. I can tell you tonight that the state has still not released the official school guidance. So there could be some changes coming based on a meeting we had with the Governor's Office and the Department of Ed on Friday that I would describe as a very tense meeting between the parties. So tonight, again, this is based on what we are currently, the directives that are currently in place. So on July 13th, when we previously met, The guidance in place at that time were students age 9 and under were not required to wear face coverings. Vaccinated students and staff were not required to wear face coverings, and unvaccinated students and staff were required to wear face coverings unless they had a medical exemption or were actively eating, drinking, or physically exercising. Then on July 27, 2021, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention added 2 recommendations that impact Douglas County School District. The first is that fully vaccinated people wear a mask in public indoor settings in areas of substantial or high transmission. And the second is that universal indoor masking for all teachers, staff, students, and visitors to schools, regardless of vaccination status. On the same day, go ahead, John. Oh, there we go. The funny thing, I need to align my computer. I need to click mine, sorry. On July 27, 2021, then Governor Sisolak issued Emergency Directive 047, which enacted the following. Individuals not exempted by Directive 024 and Directive 028 or guidance issued by the Nevada Health Response shall be required to cover their nose and mouth with a mask or face covering in a manner consistent with the guidance issued by the CDC. So basically that directive adopts as a requirement the CDC guidance. DCSD still believes that Emergency Directive 045 is in conflict with the new CDC guidance related to whether or not students age 9 and younger are required to wear face coverings. With that being said, we have been informed that additional school guidance is forthcoming, and such guidance will require all students, regardless of age and vaccination status, to wear face coverings. Based on the latest CDC data, again, this is something that we don't agree with, and we're fighting hard behind the scenes to get them to look at the metrics differently. Douglas County was deemed as having substantial or high transmission as of July 27th. This designation requires students, teachers, staff, and visitors to Douglas County School District facilities to wear a face covering in public indoor settings, regardless of vaccination status. A public indoor setting is defined as any indoor area where other people who are not members of your own household are present. This includes offices, break rooms, and other areas where people from multiple households may interact, even though the general public does not have access to the area. And I do want to clarify that this mandate at this point is for indoor only. When students and staff are outside, they would not be required to wear masks. County transmission data will be reviewed weekly every Tuesday by the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services based on the data available on the CDC county tracker. And so there's 2 data points out there that are accessible to us. One is the CDC site that has county specific data, and then there is the Nevada dashboard. They are using the CDC data to make the determination of what our designation is. For a county to change masking requirement status, it must remain in a transmission classification for 2 consecutive weeks before the mask requirement will be either increased or relaxed. So if we have improvement for a week, we have to have it for 2 consecutive weeks before they would change what classification that we are considered. Should Douglas County reduce transmission levels to moderate or low for 2 consecutive weeks, then vaccinated individuals will no longer be required to wear a mask in indoor public settings, and unvaccinated individuals would still be required to wear masks while indoors. So as you've seen on the news, there's 17 school districts in Nevada. One of them is the Charter School Authority. The 16 that have in-person learning, there are 12 that were designated in the low area, and vaccinated or unvaccinated individuals are still required to wear masks in those counties. Students attending a DCSD school in person will be required to comply with the face covering mandate. Go ahead, John. And then pursuant to Directive 045 and 047, the exemptions that were in place prior to the CDC's July 27th announcement remain in place. These exemptions include people with a medical condition, disability, or other health reason that prevents them from wearing a face covering. Individuals exempted under this provision should wear a non-restrictive alternative such as a face shield if possible. People who are actively eating and drinking, vocal performers during performances when a face covering cannot be worn due to the nature of the performance, musicians playing a musical instrument if face covering cannot be used while playing the instrument, and athletes when playing or practicing. We've talked about that on July 13th, this board unanimously approved a resolution to Governor Sisolak and the Superintendent of Public Instruction, Joan Ebert, For those inquiring, no, the district did not get any kind of response from the governor as we would have been expected. The resolution resolved the following, that the Board of Trustees of the Douglas County School District unanimously exhorts Governor Sisolak and the Nevada Department of Ed terminate all mandatory provisions within current emergency directives and remove the guidance covering mandatory use of face masks. And that also that all mandatory provisions be converted to a non-mandatory guidance principles that can be considered and implemented by the Board of Trustees in its sole discretion, given their knowledge and understanding of the impact of these provisions on the students and staff in their school district. So that's long words for local control. Again, as I've indicated, I'm a member of the Nevada Association of School Superintendents, and I can tell you that we are pretty united around the idea of local control. On July 22nd, NAS submitted a proposal to Governor Sisolak's office requesting mitigation strategies be determined by District Board of Trustees in consultation with local county health officials. The proposal also called for face coverings to be recommended but not required of all unvaccinated staff and students. Obviously, that proposal was rejected. On July 26, 2021, NAS met with officials from the Governor's Sisolak's office, Nevada Department of Education, and state health officials to discuss the proposal submitted on July 22nd, 2021. On Friday, July 30th, 2021, NAS met again with officials from the Governor Sisolak's office and the Nevada Department of Education to discuss Emergency Directive 047 and to share our deep concerns with the mandate and metrics used to designate Douglas County as high transmission. Considerations in our plan is obviously Governor Sisolak's declaration of emergency directive have the force of law. As your superintendent, I was hired to administer the school district in conformity with the adopted policies of the board, the rules and regulations of all appropriate state agencies, and the provisions of law. As board members, you took an oath of office that bear true faith, allegiance, and loyalty to the Constitution, any ordinance, resolution, or law of any state notwithstanding. Douglas County's negotiated employment contracts with the Douglas County Professional Education Association, which is our teachers and certified staff, Douglas County Support Staff Organization, which is our classified staff, and Chapter Number 6 bus drivers all contain language that require DCSD to provide its employees with safe, healthy working conditions. A failure to provide these conditions would expose DCSD to a formal grievance and increase liability exposure. Douglas County School District is home to approximately 5,300 students and 900 employees, each with unique needs and expectations. 99, as I've talked about, of our district's general fund covers operations and employee compensation, is generated from state revenue. The Nevada Department of Education has warned on multiple occasions that all Nevada districts that state funding could be jeopardized for failure to adhere to emergency directives. As I've stated previously, as your superintendent, I believe that failure to provide educational services and opportunities to the students of Douglas County would create a much larger health crisis in our county than following state mandated COVID-19 mitigation measures. Approximately 79% of DCSD's general fund budget is designated for salaries and benefits. A loss of funding would seriously jeopardize the district's ability to pay salaries and provide benefits, both of which would be a breach of contract. And in closing, again, you voted unanimously approved the safe return in-person instruction and continuity of services plan. And the special meeting we are having this evening to discuss specifically any modifications the board may want to make to the plan prior to the school year starting. The plan before you tonight is very similar to the plan you approved on July 13, 2021, but it provides the disclaimer, additional background information, including application measures and considerations, and the implementation of Directive 047. This board has local control over social and physical distancing, large gatherings, and school and transportation capacity. The board does not have local control over face coverings. Based on the changes brought about by Directive 047, I recommend the board approve the revised plan as presented.
Thank you. Does anyone on the board have any questions? Comments or questions? So what will happen now?
Doug has a question.
Oh, sorry, Doug, go ahead. Sorry, Doug.
I'm not sure the purpose of this meeting, if we are required supposedly by this to follow the law supposedly of the governor of the state. why are we even having this meeting? Why isn't this just implemented? And I know the answer to this. We're supposed to go through these procedures, but I'm just making a point here that it seems silly that we're even sitting here if we're going to just rubber stamp what the governor requires.
My response, Doug, is simply that obviously the mask Directive 047 came out after July 13th, and the plan that was brought before you had specificity of the conditions that existed at that time, and those have changed, and therefore that's why it's passed in front of you tonight.
Trustee Lehman? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. What?
Make a motion that we approve the plan as presented.
There's no public comment prior to vote?
Yes, there will be.
The motion.
I'll second.
Okay, so motion was made by trustee Lehman, seconded by trustee King. Now at this time, yes.
I need to ask council a question.
Me?
I would like to shut down chat, because chat is just like if these people were sitting here screaming at you all throughout the meeting, and then other folks replying back all throughout the meeting. I feel that public comment should be public comment, but chat should not be allowed just to keep firing off all the time. Is that correct?
Can I make a suggestion? Could we open
No,
up the
hang on.
Well, I mean,
Sorry.
the
Have a chance in just a second.
law requires public comment through the public comment. And we
process.
will allow people online to participate in public comment.
Right.
When they are allowed to speak.
Yeah.
My point is, it keeps popping up on the screen with all these comments and questions. Is the same thing as if one of these folks was sitting there screaming at you right in the middle of what you're saying.
Well,
Hang on.
you can't mute real people. You mute the notifications or the.
That's what I just did. I turned off chat.
Okay, and for my understanding,
I don't think there's a protocol.
Muting isn't the same as turning it off. People can still comment if they're not showing up. If
Okay.
they're shutting it off.
So-
I think that's a little
so, hang on one second, trustee Magnata. So from my understanding, we've never had chat on when we've had this before. I've never seen things pop up. So I think, yes, that's been our protocol, is not to have people being able to chat while we're having our meeting. They will get a chance and can raise their hand
Correct.
to talk, and that way, everybody gets to hear what's being said.
Correct.
Otherwise, they don't get to see what we're
Exactly.
seeing, and that's not good.
That's
So,
correct.
okay, yes. Trustee,
What Mr. Enter didn't say was there were a few questions on there. I've attended a few of these meetings online, they're hard to hear. And so there are a few questions I did respond to, and I agree with him that that's problematic. I responded to 2 or 3 things and I probably shouldn't.
Thank you. Trustee Magnata?
I would like to read this. This is what my doctor gave me. Face mask exempt card. I am exempt from any ordinance requiring face mask usage in public. Wearing a face mask possesses mental and/or physical risk to me, which can cause me death because I had a stroke. I can't wear anything on my face, shield, mask, anything. Department of Justice, ADA violation. Reporting number, the reporting number. Under the ADA, I am not required to disclose any medical condition to you. If found in violation of the ADA, you could be fined up to $92,383 for your first ADA violation and $148,769 for any subsequent violations.
Okay. Thank you.
Who's your doctor?
Excuse me, excuse me. Okay, so now it's your chance. I don't ever get to use this. So now it is your chance. We have a motion we had a motion and a second. Before we vote, this is your chance for us to, and we will sit here and we will listen to you, okay? But one of the things I will ask is that respect, I guess. It's just that we're respectful to each other, okay? And, and anyways, and then we will take our online people as well.
Okay,
Right? Go ahead.
here's how this is gonna work. we're not allowed to respond to your comments, okay? We're not allowed to by state law. You have 3 minutes to speak. At 2.5 minutes, I'll hold up a yellow card. At 3 minutes, I'll hold up a red card, and we need to conclude your comments. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of public comments. Okay?
Okay, so we do have a sign-up sheet, all righty?
Sure.
And
Give us the empty one just in case people.
yeah, if you change your mind. Also, I do want to recognize that there could be some people here that maybe are here for support, but don't feel like getting up and talking. Maybe that's not their thing. And if you agree with someone, after they're done speaking, you could raise your hand if you'd like and let us know that you agree with what they're saying without everyone feeling like you do have to speak, okay? And we do have 150, just so you know, we have 156 people online, and we will take them in the order that they've signed, that they've raised their hand as well.
Trustees,
Doug has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Doug. Sorry, I can't see you very well. Go ahead. Trustee
Yeah,
Abel.
I was just curious if when we as the board are going to be able to voice our opinions, is it after the public comment or before? I'm sorry.
Sure, yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Okay. Okay, here we go. The first person I have on here is Jackie. Yeah, could you, just for the record, would you please come up and state your name nice and loud? And then you'll be watching Trustee Chichester for the timer, okay?
Okay, my name is Jackie Dyer, and I am a grandmother of 2 beautiful grandchildren that go to school in this county. I also live here in Mendon, and I appreciate the support that you have tried to push back on a lot of issues, and I realize how difficult it is, but it feels like we're dealing with a bully situation where we don't have any control over what happens to our children. And I didn't know about this before, but the whole funding issue, I read briefly that I think it was in 2018, we received 86% local funds. And then at some point in time, we gave it all to the state to manage. And I can't talk about that today, but that's put us in this situation to a certain extent. So I wanted to bring that up. My big question is why? We're talking about the funding thing, which is significant. And we're also talking about, the health and safety of the staff. That's also very important. I didn't hear a lot about talking about the health and safety of our kids. So I wanted to just make a few comments about that. One is that there is not one single study in the universe that really says that kids are at significant risk of transmitting or getting coronavirus, either the current one or even in the Delta variant. There's just not one study that shows that. In fact, the AMA at the end of this month put out a study that said children that wear masks, even for 3 minutes, are subject to high levels of CO2, which can be toxic to them. It's even at the adult level is what they're inhaling. That's unacceptable. Let's see. We also know it's really important for kids to develop natural immunity, and they develop natural immunity by their normal exposure to the life and the air and the schools and everything that they breathe. And the masks, to a certain extent, take that away from them. Kids need socialization, and I'm probably preaching to the choir, you probably all know this, but they need to interact, and part of interaction is your face. And I can't I'm going to take this off, and I want to just talk without this, but I can't. Masks limit the experience. In fact, they say the studies are showing that children don't interact as much with masks on. And I think that's also true for adults. We kind of sit back and we don't talk and we don't say. Children like me, always pulling out their masks, touching themselves. I think that's not healthy either. My grandchild is a kindergartner for the last season and a half of school. He went to private school and he was very successful. They did not have masks there except a very short period of time. And he is now going to be a first grader at Gardnerville Elementary, and he's reading at the 2nd grade level. He went to school without masks, and he did not have any problem except one incident that they closed the school for. I just encourage you, I don't know. Okay, in conclusion, is that okay?
Thank you, Jackie, for your comments. Teresa,
Abstain.
that's you. All right, could you
Hi.
state your full name for us, please?
Of course, I'm Teresa Chambliss Machado. I'm a mom, a wife and local realtor. I actually graduated from Douglas in '95. And my son is entering as a junior and my daughter is entering as a fifth grader. So Douglas opinion. I'm going to read this just in lieu of time. So I want to thank you for having our children's best interests at heart during a very difficult few years. Sorry. I'm very active in the community and I help to support the Douglas High School soccer team. And I also sponsored the middle school sports. I don't have a student there, but during COVID, I felt it was important for them to be cheered on. My daughter is entering the fifth grade next week and my son is entering as a junior. And he has yet to complete the full year of in-school classes since he entered high school in 2019. He went through the Douglas County School District GT program, and this last year, he unexpectedly had a very rough year. The effects of mass, physiologically and psychologically, I lost count of times. His science teacher sent him to the office for his mask slipping down off his nose. He had to take summer school, and one day the bus driver left him at the bus stop because he forgot his mask. Mind you, the masked bus driver was on the bus with not a single other student on there. I believe this is the exact opposite of how we encourage and motivate our students, and I don't believe that's what you want to see happen. I've had 2 open heart surgeries. My husband had a heart attack a few years ago. We both had COVID this year. We thought it was allergies. Thankfully, our overall health made it so COVID was like a light cold. On the other hand, my younger sister, 40 years old, also graduated from Douglas. A mask would not have saved her. She died in December. You want to know why? Because she was not healthy. She was asthmatic. She was diabetic. She was overweight. You know what we really need to look at? What are we feeding our kids? What is the school program? What are they feeding our kids? We're putting our eggs in the wrong basket. And I realize that you might feel like your hands are tied to the school district and the funding coming from the state, but our tax dollars are earmarked for the schools and for our children's futures. I do not believe that the Department of Education and Governor Sisolak can threaten our children and get away with it. My question is, what happens when more than half of our students unenroll? Where are you going to get your money from? I can only imagine what it feels like to be in your position. I know a lot of you personally, and I know that you probably feel the exact same way. So my point is, my sister died in December. She was 40 years old. She walked into the hospital and she never left because she did not have good underlying health. I've had 2 open heart surgeries and they've stopped my heart. I had it a cold. The fundamentals starts from the ground, just like education. When you start to read, health is important. Douglas County has 7 active cases. How is this high transmission in a county of almost 50,000 people? We decide as parents what to feed our kids, what vitamins, what movies they can watch, what clothes they wear. The risks of masks outweigh any benefit. Please let us as parents decide. Governor Sisolak, let us decide how we raise our children, what religion they follow, what food they eat. In closing, do not give up. Keep fighting for our children. And the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for the good men to do nothing.
Thank you, Teresa. Sorry, very heartfelt. I can see that. Next, we have Jeannie Freeman.
I'm just here to listen.
Oh, okay, thank you. We'll move on then to Michelle. Is it long?
Yes,
Oh, good.
it's hard to follow.
It is, isn't
Speak
it?
from your heart.
Yeah. Well, a lot of what I was going to say has been covered, not just by Keith Lewis, but by the parents already. So I'm going to skip that because I want to comment on some of the things that you said. Even though it sounded heartfelt, I find it highly contradictory. So you talk about the funding. As she noted, the funding comes from the people that pay the taxes in this community. That's where most of your funding comes from. None of you either missed a paycheck during the lockdowns. I have friends that are teachers that felt guilt because they were collecting full pay, sitting at home, doing nothing. That is not okay. You want to congratulate yourselves on doing your job, keeping the school open. Great, that was wonderful. but it wasn't how we thought that it would go for this coming year. We did our job last year. You need to do your job this year. You talked about following the law, that it's your job as the board to follow the law. The law is being broken. Our governor is breaking the law by enforcing mandates which are not law. So step up and ask yourselves, what is next? I appreciate the advocation. Did any of us know about it? None of us knew about it. I had to read about it after I went to the website to look at the agenda. Where's the communication with us that we could support you in that? We could show up at the governor's office, communicate with us, let us know that you are advocating. No one knew that before today. I don't know, maybe I'm alone in that. But what is next? Sue the state of Nevada, sue that governor, because you all know that this is unlawful. Please ask yourselves, what is next for the health of our children, for the well-being of them? You say that you were offended by, I think it was my comment, that it's all about the money. That is how it looks to the rest of us. We do not see or hear any of the things that you say today that you are doing. So let us know what you're doing and let us know what you will do next so these kids can have some kind of a life at school. And we talk about bullying. I want to know, what about the kids that are exempt? Are you going to segregate them? I have a child that is exempt, that suffered a brain injury in January, that cannot wear a mask because he needs to breathe air so that his brain can heal. Will you segregate him? And I am highly offended by your comment. I don't know your name, but for you saying twice while these people yell at people, that is uncalled for. You talked about mutual respect. That is mutual. You glaring at me while I sat there and shaking your head at me was not okay. It takes a lot of courage and nerve to get up here and talk to you.
Thank you. No hands? Thank you, Michelle. And then I have Todd. Same last name?
Same last name.
All right. Can you go ahead for us though and state your name?
Yeah, Todd Long.
Thank you, Todd.
Yeah, thank you. A lot of this is going to be stated and restated, I think, tonight. So a couple things. One, we didn't know, it sounds like, and Keith, you could make your presentation public, that'd be great, because it sounds like you're in unanimous agreement to have control in this area for the mask.
That's true.
Okay, so I don't think a lot of us did not know that, so we appreciate that, but I think the fight needs to continue because this is a violation of civil liberties. It's unconstitutional to mandate that anybody wear any kind of face covering, no matter the health risk to that individual. So that should be an individual decision. It's a clear violation of law and our constitutional civil liberties. So I would really encourage you guys to continue to fight against what I think is becoming tyranny at the state level. So it's time we stood up and said enough is enough. We watched this country deteriorate for my entire life, last 20 years especially, and we need local control, and it starts here with you guys. At the local level, we have local control, we can fight back. Let's do that. And you said it's not about the money, but you made the point several times that it is about the money. And it's not right for them. It's not right for the state to be holding us hostage because of money and funding. So I hope you have a group of attorneys involved. I hope you have somebody addressing this at the state level, but we will support you. This is not acceptable. Not anymore.
Thank you, Todd, for your, next I have, is it Kate?
I'm just here to support.
All right, Kate, thank you. Casey Rogers, next. Go ahead, please state your full name for us.
Casey Rogers.
Thank you.
So I brought a 235-page thing for you to look at, peer reviewed, over 237 times. It has been peer reviewed. Hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin work for you. We don't need that. We have a 99.98% survival rate for their age group. So it's a lie. You play into a lie. And I don't care about funding. I don't care about none of that crap that's coming down from the governor to force you to do things you in your heart know is wrong. And that's the problem. Here's also another peer-reviewed article you can look at for ivermectin. There's also several things I brought here for people who have masks. Joey Gilbert has these at AmericanFrontlineDoctors.org. You can get them, put your kid's name on them and give them to your superintendent. Secondly, I have a video that I'm going to play. I'm not going to waste any more time. If it will play. Stu Peters.
Vaccines. Those researchers later found that the same applied to Moderna, and AstraZeneca is now being tested as a result of our reporting. The truth is here. USA Today lead stories, all funded by the cabal, were all over me, all over Dr. Jane Ruby, and out calling us liars for reporting those findings to the world in a video that has now soared over, well, I think about 1 million views on Rumble. We have sought the input of many medical experts, world-renowned doctors, Dr. Jane Ruby, Dr. Tenpenny, Dr. Judy Mikovits, Dr. David Martin. They have all confirmed that report. But despite all of that confirmation, the assaults on our truth continue. On Twitter, you may have been recently following the hashtag Pfizer leak. We want to know what's in them. We want to know if it was pre-planned, who's behind all of it. We want to know what to believe. So today we're going to get the confirmation that we need. It's hard to fact check documents. It's hard to fact check publicly discoverable proprietary ingredients. It's hard to fact check Karen Kingston. She is a former Pfizer employee, currently an analyst for the pharmaceutical and medical device industries. Karen, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your bravery. We admire your desire to expose the truth behind what appears to be, to me at least, one of the most, if not the most evil agenda mankind has ever been subject to.
Well, thank you for giving me a platform to share my findings and to spread the truth. And you're right, it is extremely difficult to find this information and link it together. I do have a unique set of skills. This is what I do in the industry. I analyze intellectual property, the legal landscape for both physicians, pharma, and consumers. And then I'm also a scientific writer and do the clinical analysis as well. So you can't expect everyone to have that skill set to find this information. And the truth is, the whole do your own research was born out of the reality that the mainstream media has been lying to us.
Find that. Stu Peters, rumble.com. Thank you, Casey. Next we have Marie. I know she's out there. Yeah, I saw you. Would you please state your full name for us, Marie?
Yes, I am Marie Foster. I'm obviously a parent in the district. And I just wanted to talk to you guys about what's happening because as so many parents I agree with everything as far as the peer review. I've been through this research, guys, it's there. But this is about the funding because that's clearly what's been stated. And if this was law, all of us should be under arrest right here, right now, for not wearing masks inside this building, right? All of us, right? That's why Casey has a book in her backpack right now that is the only peer review study that I need to have, and that is the United States Constitution. How much ransom will be enough for you to say no to the almighty dollar? You have the power. How much ransom? A year of masks? 2 years of masks so you can have your 99.1% funding? Then the ransom comes to critical race theory. You have to teach our kids that they need to be ashamed of their skin color if they're the wrong color and privileged if they're the right. For what? For funding? Then it comes down to the vaccine. You guys don't see what Sislak's doing? Second week of August, state mandated for federal and state employees that they're vaccinated or they wear a mask and at $245 a pop are tested once a week. Guess what's coming next? How much ransom will we pay with our children's health for your funding? You guys have the ability to start lawsuits. You have the ability. You have your constituents here backing. Be brave. Be courageous men. Be Americans. off my child. Give me the choice. And with that, the last of this I give to my child. You have something you want to say?
I want to pay for my freedom.
Go pay for it.
I want to pay for my freedom like. I want to pay for my freedom the same way the government is paying all of you to take it away right now.
These are our tax dollars. This is our community. I know. Doug Engelkirk, thank you so much for being a voice of reason last meeting. You stood up against this and said, screw the funding, let's find a way. And I'm so thankful for you. The rest of you, jump on, trust us. There's ways past this. We will support you endlessly if you will take this fight.
All righty, thank you, Marie. We have, is it Maxine? Did you want to speak?
This is the first ever meeting to the next.
That's right. Don't tread on me.
My name is Maxine Rotowiz, and basically I want to say ditto to everybody who responded. They said a lot what I wanted to say, but basically the masks do nothing. Fauci, even at the beginning of this quote unquote pandemic, stated they do nothing because it will not stop the virus. A virus is smaller than what your mask is going to filter out. When I was in VA with COVID, my nurses had to come in with a suit completely covered up. That's the only thing that will protect you. The masks don't. As the lady stated before, they cause more problems than they help because they do nothing. I have worn, since they started Friday, this mask. Because I want to breathe. I want to see what people's faces are like. This is my mask, and the only time I have to wear it is to go into VA, which is disgusting. So, make it short and sweet. Thank you.
Thank you, Maxine. Next we have Aaron. All righty.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were probably ahead of me.
This is Aaron, is it D?
That's me.
Okay.
Wrong again.
Could you go ahead and state your full name first, please, sir?
Yes, my name is Aaron DeLug. I'm a resident of this community. I'm a father of 2 children here, a third one coming. I'm a Nevadan. I'm an American patriot, and I'm pissed. The masks are about submission. I mean, that's the elephant in the room. We all know it. It has nothing to do with health. And honestly, it won't end, and we all know it. Historically, peaceful mass non-compliance has been the best way to enact real change in defiance of tyranny, which is clearly what we are in the presence of right now. You need look no further than the civil rights movement of the 60s for obviously the grand example. There was no violence. There was just them standing up for what they believed in, what they knew in their hearts, what they knew God's law was, not man's, not corrupt man's. Nuremberg law, Jim Crow, these were all laws. You know, at what point do we stand up to the law for what we know is right? At what point do we reject, oh, I'm just following orders, sir? And if we don't do it now, when are we going to do it? What is the limit that has to be crossed before you guys actually start getting as upset as we are and start really acting in a way that is courageous? Because this shit is weak. Excuse my language.
Thank you, Aaron. Next, we have Christy Corsi. Is that correct? Good. Go ahead and state your full name for us in case I said it wrong.
You know, I'm Christy Corsi. I'm a parent of 2 in the district.
I'm new to the area. Forgive me, solidly forgive me. I'm from SoCal, and I thought I moved to America. I am a refugee. Please accept me. Yes, absolutely. And I moved here because I didn't live in America and I wanted to. And then I sent my kids to school, and last year I got a lot of phone calls from Keith Lewis on the recorder, and every single one, I knew he was paying attention. He got my kids in school. They would not have been in school if I hadn't moved to America. But now here we are. What are we teaching our kids? That they don't have the freedom of choice? I live in America. I thought I had the freedom of choice. I want my kids to choose. I want to be able to choose if my kid wears a mask. The rest, I don't know. I didn't come prepared. I took some notes while I was listening. The masks, they're voluntary. He mentioned that it would be an unsafe work environment that he would be providing if we did not require masks. But obviously masks don't work, and that's a whole nother conversation. But if the masks work the way CISLAC and everybody's telling us they do, then you have legal ground. That's not creating an unsafe work environment if they can choose to wear a mask or not. The people who don't want to wear a mask shouldn't have to wear a mask. Make it a choice. That's one of my comments. Excuse me. Another one, when somebody mentioned about all of the CO2 the kids are breathing in with the mask. We had how many smoke days last year that we didn't even send the kids to school because the air was poor quality. We didn't want them to breathe that, but yet here we are telling them to breathe in their own CO2. Again, I moved here for a reason. This is an extremely generous, tight community that would have your back if you fought CISLAC. He obviously needs somebody to kick him in the rear. And why can't it start with us? You have a community that I didn't know it used to be 80% taxpayer dollars. Raise my taxes for the schools. Obviously I don't want my taxes raised, but why? I would rather be in charge of my kids' funding for school than CISLAC.
Yes.
So let's have. Lastly, I'll make it super quick. Lastly, you're speaking to the governor's office. You're having these meetings as if this is normal circumstances, that you just want to add a gym to the school. This is not normal. You've got to kick butt in a way that you haven't done in the past, because this is not normal times. This is new.
Thank you, Christy. Next, Denise Ferronio. I had Sue ahead of you, Parkhurst, but crossed her name out, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure.
The second everybody.
All right.
Denise Baronio. To piggyback really quick on what she says before I get into my comments, the state of Texas does not allow their education programs to be run by the state. The funding comes from every county, not the state. So we should be looking at options as far as that's concerned for the state of Nevada. That's a legislature thing, but food for thought. A mandate is a recommendation, not a requirement. The governor of this state does not make law. The legislature makes the laws. I was at a meeting today where there were 2 county commissioners. They said that they are not enforcing the mask mandate. The Board of County Commissioners for Douglas County is not enforcing that. The Sheriff's Department is not enforcing it. It's not their job. Since the resolution that you guys proposed, which I commend you for, was not accepted by the governor, I would encourage you, and I spoke to the commissioners today, for this board to sit down with the DSC, with the Board of County Commissioners, to try and find a solution, a resolution to this, because they are willing to speak with you. For whatever reason, for the last 15 years, this school board has refused to meet with the county commissioners almost 100% of the time. For that, on record. I don't know why that is, but they are more than willing to meet and to try and find and help with a resolution to the situation as far as the mask mandate is concerned. In regards to Tony's in your exemption, both of my kids were exempt for medical reasons last year. The high school made them wear a mask anyway. They have doctor notes, doctor notes. So as far as I know, that's a HIPAA violation. And should I be suing the school district right now? That's not what I'm gonna do. I'm just making the point that the guidelines need to be followed. If somebody has an exemption, the school cannot make that child wear a mask.
Or segregate them.
Right, or segregate them. Thank you. So that was this last year. You guys have the power, you have the backing, you are the solution to this problem, and you need to be brave enough to fight. Amen.
Thank you, Denise. I have Kathy Duffy, but crossed out. Is that correct? Correct. Okay, thank you. And then Kaylee? I think it's Kaylee, is it Lisner or Weisner? Is she out there, maybe? No? All righty. Okay, we'll move on if Kaylee shows up. And then we have Jeff. Christie's, I think, Corsi's name. Yes, yes, sir.
Can I stand?
You can, you absolutely can. Go ahead and please state your name. Though.
Jeff Corsi.
Thank you, Jeff.
I only heard one thing I've disagreed with so far today that was said to you guys, and that's you're the solution. It's been almost 2 years and the problem still exists. You're not the solution. So what do you had? I find it ironic that with 1 day's notice, other agencies or departments within the county can hold a 30,000 person rally with 0 incidents. And a year and a half into this, you haven't figured out a solution. It's obviously about the money. Why can't we figure it out? It's a problem, let's solve it. You keep blaming it on the governor. You guys gotta own it here at this level. You guys are elected to solve these problems. And a year and a half later, you want to send my kids back to school with masks. That's unacceptable. What have you done in a year and a half? What have you accomplished? I don't see it. And I don't know what else to do. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Jeff. And last on our list that I have is Jason. There was no hearing on. Oh, we have another list. Yeah, we want to move this one over.
And Linda, you have 5 online.
Okay, perfect. We'll finish up with this and then we'll go online. Jason, can you go ahead and state your name for us, please?
Jason Lowry.
Thank you, Jason.
I have one 15-year-old. He was a freshman last year in high school. I went to high school at Douglas High. Picking the kids up from school this year, I can't say I've ever seen kids so defeated. Coming out of the school with their heads down, wearing masks. The social distancing, they wear their masks all the way across the street. They wear them over the parking lot of Maverick and so on. So anyways, I won't do it this year. If a mask become a requirement, I will pull my kid out of school.
Yep.
And I know a lot of people on the board. I know a lot of these guys and spouses of friends of mine, and I have the utmost respect for you. I know you're in a hard position, but from what I've heard tonight and how I feel as well, you do have our backing. We stand with you if you have the courage to stand up for us. I don't know what the option is. I don't know what the future looks like, but if this is going to be a repetitive thing that just keeps coming up, then maybe we need to look at different funding. Maybe we need to look at charter schools or vouchers or something to pull our money so that we can give the kids the education we want them to have, not the education that being supplied at a state level. So, with that, thank you guys.
Okay, what we're gonna do is we have 2 more on here, and then we're gonna switch it over to call-ins, okay? Okay, we have Chris. Is it Kemper? I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, we all kind of. Could you go ahead and state your name, please?
I'm Chris Camper.
Thanks.
Again, like many of you, I have children in this community. I just want to talk to Member Tony. You stated when you read your ADA, your American Disability Act, the first thing that you stated was your mental and physical. That's why we're all here. We're all concerned with the mental health of our children. We don't want our children on the ADA. So, come on, man. I've poured my heart and my soul into this community. Year after year, buddy, you know that. Stand up, all right? Stand up and do something. Be a part of the community. We didn't vote for Sisolak. We voted for you. This community, 80% of this community did not vote for Sisolak, but they voted for you. Do something or see a change, because we're ready to change.
All right, thank you, Chris. And then last that we'll have here for right now before we go online is our second Aaron. Could you please state your name for the record?
Hey everyone, I'm Aaron Broxma, otherwise known as the second Aaron. So I'm a transplant from Southern California. One of the reasons I left Southern California is because I hate mask mandates. You guys here, when you were talking, it's harder to understand each and every one of you because you have your mask on. My son is out in the lobby, his Emerson, he's 8 years old. We're from Minden, Nevada now. And he doesn't want to wear a mask. He doesn't want to come in here because he's afraid, because he knows that there's a lot of controversy involved around this. Well, here's the thing is we have the option to make masks optional. You guys can all wear your masks and we can not wear our masks. And I can be remarkably healthy and undead and not miss work for, I don't know when my last sick day even was. All those conservatives in here should be dead by now if this thing was really as bad as it was.
Yeah.
I am more afraid of gas station sushi than the Delta variant, right? But here's part of the issue, is that we don't have the option for any of this stuff. We do have the option to only vote for people who give us the freedom to wear a mask or not wear a mask. Let's be honest here, some laws matter and some laws don't. I think it's pretty obvious that we live in a nation where that's the case right now. Illegal immigration doesn't matter, all these other things don't matter. When I was in law enforcement in Los Angeles, I got burned out because homeless people would come in and steal food. And it was basically legal because they wouldn't do any time in jail because of COVID. Our communities are so much more dangerous now because we've let so much stuff slide. But the laws that people want to enforce are mask mandates. Well, why? I'm totally healthy. My temperature is 97.8. Everyone's trying to get in everybody's business about health. I like my health to be private. I've been vaccinated. I was told that if I was, I wouldn't have to wear a mask. And some people aren't vaccinated. Where does the rule keep sliding to? It doesn't seem honest to me. But I can say this, that I will not support any candidate, any politician who supports a mask mandate. I'm going to root for the other guy. I'm going to vote for the other guy. I'm going to give money to the other guy. I'm going to give money to someone who gives me the most freedom. I want to send my kid to a school where he can understand his teacher and he's not forced to wear a mask. And I'd also like to say that as far as mask mandates are concerned, oh gosh. Oh, 30 seconds. Gosh, I lost my train of thought. Homeschool. Have you guys not considered why so many people homeschool? It's because they don't have to deal with critical race theory. They don't have to deal with mask mandates. They have to deal with all this other kind of stuff. If that's what it takes to hit people in the checkbook, people have lost their businesses. You guys have not, right? People have lost so much because they were declared unsafe. You can sit down and now not get COVID, right? You go to Home Depot and not get COVID. But now all these things are sliding and all these things are changing. I'm not sure I really believe it. But what I would believe is just the opportunity for my son to not be forced to wear a mask. And if people want to wear it, then they can.
Thank you, Eric. Second, Eric. Did you sign up? You need to sign up first, okay? And then you'll get your turn. We have some people that are waiting, that have zoomed in or are gonna call in. So we're gonna go ahead and take, how many do we have?
We have five. First one is Daniela.
Okay, so we're gonna start with Danielle. Can she hear me?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Daniela, you're next up. Would you please state your full name for the record? And thank you for being here.
Daniela Anderson.
Yes.
All right. I ditto what everyone else has said, and also ditto that we will completely stand behind you if you're willing to stand up to Sisolak. I have never, ever, ever considered homeschooling. I have always said kids need to be in school. I don't feel like I would be a valuable teacher to my children, but if my children are required to wear a mask, I will homeschool them. I have 3 children. That'll be 3 children less in the school district. Recently, Fauci said that he wears a mask as a symbol of good behavior. Good behavior in my family is respect. It is obeying your parents. It is doing your work. It is working hard. That is good behavior. Wearing your mask is not good behavior. Also, just as one last thing, wearing a mask, it's George Orwell's picture of the boot to the human face.
All right. Thank you, Daniela. And who do we have next, John?
We have Heidi Gunter.
Miss Heidi, thank you for being here. Would you go ahead and state your full name for us, please?
Hi, everybody. My name is Heidi Gunter, Gunter, for the record.
Thank you.
My 5-year-old will be starting kindergarten at the end of August, only if he does not have to wear a mask. And Superintendent Lewis, it's very apparent that you have the support from the community to fight for our children not wearing a mask. So please keep up fighting, and the troops will rally with you. We cannot bow down to the government. Now let me quote a Disney movie that every parent should know, A Bug's Life. Everyone knows A Bug's Life, right? We've all seen it. You let one ant stand up to us, they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about the food. It's about keeping those ants in line. So let that sink in. Watch the movie. It's on YouTube if you can't find it. Also,
Go ahead, Heidi.
And if our children are forced to wear a mask, I would like to start a homeschooling group. If you don't have anyone's children enrolled in school, you're not going to need funding. So Heidi Gunter, you can find me on Facebook, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. John, who do we have next?
Jennifer Cantley.
Jennifer, we're ready for you to speak. If you guys state your name, and go ahead and spell your last name, if you don't mind.
Yes, my name is Jennifer Cantley, Cantley.
Thank
Can you
you.
hear me?
Okay,
Can you
go
hear
ahead, Jennifer.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry. I just wanted to call in, and I guess my opinion is going to be totally different here, but I definitely have a story for you of someone not wearing a mask with my husband's work that brought COVID-19 to my house. I am now a long hauler because of it. I now have inflammation around my heart. I now cannot breathe and have COPD with my lungs. I have gray matter spots on my brain that have caused dementia, and my spinal fluid has been risen because of it that they cannot control. I am one of those people that used to be able to run and hike and do everything normal, but because of COVID-19 and because of one person not wearing their mask at my husband's work and refusing to wear a mask, my whole family, including my children, had to go through this devastating disease. My children, I had to sit and witness wheezing in between their coughs, and it took our family almost 6 weeks to recover it. Luckily, they are okay, but here I am, barely even at sea level to walk normal without my oxygen going down to 90. So I understand that you can survive COVID and you can move on day to day and have it as any other virus, but you can also become a long hauler because of it. Over 15% or higher are becoming long haulers because of COVID, and a mask stops can help that.
No, please, let her speak.
I understand it is an annoyance. I understand that it is something, but there are other people in this community that have low immune systems, and we have to think of others, and it takes adults being leaders in this community to stand up for each other, to think of others other than ourselves, and it takes adults to teach our children this. And I wanted to speak about this. This has been the hardest year of my life, having to go through all of this. And I just thought I would speak about that and let everyone know that yes, it's uncomfortable, but everyone is suffering right now. Everybody. This is not easy for anyone. And it is not simply a black and white issue. It is not a political issue. This is a virus that has been around for a year, almost 2 years, that we are all trying to figure out and just get through our day-to-day lives. So thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. All right, next, who do we have, John?
We have Danielle Smith.
Okay. Is it Daniela or Danielle? Could you please?
Danielle.
You're next
Danielle
to speak.
Smith.
And could you go ahead and state your name, please? And spell your first name.
Hi, my name is Danielle, Danielle, last name Smith, common spelling.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I am the PTSO president for Jacks Valley Elementary School. I have 2 children that are possibly geared towards attending Jacks Valley again this year and a middle schooler. I just want to point out that we have private schools in the community that are standing up for us. We have charter schools that are standing up for us and that are allowing us to send kids there. That's our option. Instead of having to be forced to send our kids to places that are forcing us to mask them. As educators, we're here to teach history. I don't know if a lot of the educators have forgotten history, but the Holocaust, we're falling right in line with that. We need to stand up, and we need our educators to be those that are words of reason for us and that teach our kids to stand up and not repeat history. So as others have said, you guys are elected positions. We all will remember what you vote, and we hope that you can be a voice of reason and stand up for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle. Okay, Don?
Katie Kent.
Okay, Katie, you're next to speak. Go ahead, state your name, please.
Katie Kent is muted.
Katie, you need to unmute yourself. Any luck?
Still muted.
Still on mute? Okay. Do we have anyone else on there? We'll move on.
We have an Amber Minor.
Okay. Amber, you're next. Could you go ahead and state your name for the record, please?
She doesn't seem to have a microphone.
Okay. Amber and Katie, if you can figure out a way, either call in a different way or figure out how to get off mute, please. We'd like to hear from you, but we are going to go on, move on right at this time.
Sorry to interrupt, President Gilson. We probably do need to make an announcement that if they're on a phone, how to do public comment. *9, is that correct? So if you are on phone online and you're on your cell phone, in order to raise your hand, if you hit *9, that will raise your hand.
Thank you, Superintendent Lewis. Any luck over there? No. No, John, let's go ahead. We have a few more people here. We have 6 people that have signed up. that are waiting to talk, why don't we move forward with that? And I apologize, I don't know which one was first or how I got these, but I will go ahead with Rochelle, if you're here. Thank you for your patience. And go ahead, please state your name.
My name is Rochelle Sheehan. I'm a mother of 4. 3 of my children currently attend schools in DCSD. I'm here as an advocate on the behalf of my children. I'm here to exercise the parental and medical rights afforded to me by the Constitution of the United States. Let me start by saying that mandates are not laws. By definition, the word mandate means an official order or commission to do something. And I know I speak for many parents. I know now more than ever, after sitting here for an hour, when I say I do not intend to follow this order, and by doing so, we're not breaking any laws. Masks should be a choice left up to the parent. Even the CDC, who by the way are not elected officials of any kind, say that children are among the lowest risk of population for the COVID-19 virus. Moreover, many studies, including one from Stanford, and out of the words and emails of Fauci himself, have produced research which says that unless masks are medical grade, and unless they are worn in sterile environments, frankly, by professionals, that they do little or nothing to prevent contraction or transmission of the virus. In fact, most of the masks you buy say right on the packaging that they do not prevent transmission of COVID, let alone when worn by a small child. Furthermore, there are 0 long-term studies outlining the mental, physical, or emotional effects of masking our children for hours on end. I can tell you, my 8-year-old would tell me that Mama, when my teacher turns around, I pull my mask down so I can breathe. And I said, good baby, you do that. And he said, Mama, when the hand sanitizer comes around, I don't use it because it's yucky, it feels toxic. He says, I pretend, I fake it. I say, good baby, you do that. But you know what, I failed him. And this year, honestly, I'm not putting my kids in if you guys are making them wear masks. It is traumatizing for them. And it is not effective, and it does not prevent the transmission of the disease, period. And you know, it's really clear here tonight. We don't bring our kids to school, you guys don't get money. Then maybe that will light the fire under you that inspires you to band together and fight for us. Thank you for the proposals. I saw that you did try, but it wasn't enough. And you know what? We are the power. The power is in the people. And if we don't put our kids in school, there's no money. There's no attendance, there's no money. And I'm hearing right now, okay, here are one of my options. If I homeschool, I can create a little cohort, a little group of other families who feel like-minded parents who will band together and help me do this homeschool thing on my own. Or I'll beg, borrow, and steal for the damn tuition for 3 kids for private school. I'm not putting my kids in school with the mask mandate. And I urge you guys to do the same. Don't show up on that first day. Don't show up. Not a mask in your kid's backpack, not a mask on their face, and not a mask on yours, because there is nothing wrong with my face. There's nothing wrong with my child. There's nothing wrong with breathing fresh air. And if my child is sick, I will be diligent to keep them home. But if they're healthy, they are not wearing masks.
Thank you, Rochelle. Next, we have Carolyn.
Okay, I'm gonna cry because this has been horrible. Carolyn Gannon. I did pull my kids out last year because they were not gonna wear a mask. And I waited until a couple weeks ago to put my kids back in because I thought the masks were over. We went in for our 6th grader to go pick her classes and she got told, no, we'll be in masks again. And she bawled on the way home. She couldn't look at me. She couldn't talk to me. That is not the way that our kids are supposed to be about school. Are you kidding me? She was in tears over this. I worked hard last year with homeschooling. I worked hard. And when I talk to other kids' parents who their kids went to school, my kids are way ahead of where they are. You guys failed them last year. They are way behind. The parents are so mad. How are we going to catch them back up? I worked hard, so now if I do put them back in school, they're getting held back by the other kids because they were failed through this. This is not fair to them. Mine are not going. If they have to be in masks, it's not going to happen again. They're so excited. School shopping is done. We spent hundreds on clothes. They're not going. They will not. My daughter is a nervous Nelly. Dad cannot speak because this upsets him so bad to see our daughter, who is so excited about middle school, in tears every night. She can't do it. We can't make it through Costco as a family with a mask on. This is not, it's not right. We are killing our kids. We are crushing them. When I was in college, we did studies on how facial recognition, all the happiness, all the sadness, it goes to our kids. You can't. This is not healthy for them. No smiles, no nothing. You can't do this to the kids anymore. You have to fight 99.1, whatever. We have to figure it out. We have to. Our taxes are high enough. We have to do it because the teachers who are quitting in Carson, what, 12 quit when they found out about masks again? Do it. Make it work for our kids. We're crushing them. We're crushing their spirits, crushing them. It is your job to help us.
Thank you, Carolyn. Next, we have Tammy Anderson. And for the record, Tammy, would you mind stating your name, please? Thank you.
My name is Tammy Anderson. Here's my quick notes that we just wrote up. First of all, my husband and I love public schools. We've always decided to send our kids to public school because this is life. You have to deal with all sorts of people you like, people you don't. We love Douglas schools. I graduated myself in '94 from Douglas. We have 4 children, one who just graduated a whole year with masks as the drum major, who decided now to quit music and call it because it was sad. It was a sad year, and she worked 4 years in high school and now has quit music because being a drum major for one show with masks on was really sad and pathetic. As much as they worked, as much as Miss Owens has worked as hard as they did. An incoming freshman, a 7th grader, and a 5th grader to round out the whole shebang. We believe in Douglas. We have supported our schools in Douglas for getting our kids back in when so many in the entire country did not. Shamefully, they did not. Thankfully, you guys worked to get them in. Now we need to continue to get it back to normal, as we know you guys can. It breaks my heart. I've been in tears for 4 days in this email. I cannot send my kids back to school with masks. It breaks my heart to have these conversations with my children. It is not fair to them. We miss their smiling faces as much as the teachers miss them, and they miss the teachers' smiling faces. So many kids in our district need the teachers. Maybe they don't always have the best home life, but they have the teachers. They need the teachers. On Monday, we are planning to show up to school with our children with no masks. And if the options are you either wear a mask or you go home, me and my husband and my children will go home. We will not wear masks.
And we'll do it the next day.
That's right. Thank you. Next we have Fauna. Could you please go ahead and state your name for the record?
Bonaccini, and so I'm gonna stand up. Right now, I agree with what everyone has said so far, and what I'm scared of is at the end of this meeting, we're not gonna come to an agreement. There's already been 2 people that have said that they approve this back to school safety agenda that you guys want to do. However, I want to know what our options are. If we're going to show up to school and we're not wearing masks and we pull our kids out from school, we do not do the online Douglas County homeschooling program. Do we do a charter school? How do we do that? What can we do? And when we pull all of our kids out of the Douglas County schools, which I guarantee you, all these parents will. I have no doubt in my mind. We can make sure we all do homeschool. However, I know there's also a lot of us that we can set up a charter school. So when we do this, is money coming out from the funding. So what's more important? Is it the state funding, the federal funding that you guys are worried about? You said that we could play chicken. I think we need to play chicken. It doesn't need to stop here. I think we not need to be the silent majority anymore. We all need to start speaking up and we can all stand up.
That's right.
Rochelle Alfonso, I'm sorry, I skipped over you, I apologize. Thank you.
My name is Rochelle Alfonso. I have 4 children. 2 are in the district, 2 go to private school. I will never again, as soon as my last boy is done graduating, my 2 in private school will never go to school in this district ever again. The private school that my youngest 2 go to is a very small Christian school. And there are 15 to 20 students that go there that are children of your staff. That speaks a lot of volume, a lot of volume. Your teachers are sending their children to a private school. I'm also the mother who started the petition on Facebook to unmask Douglas County schools. Just on Facebook alone, I have 610 parents that have signed stating that if we have masks mandatory, they will not be sending their children to school and they will not sign up for your homeschool program. My question is, what will be done when that happens? And that's not 610 children, that's 610 families. Multi-children homes will not be at school on Monday morning. And I want to know what happens to your funding if that happens.
I think after 3 weeks, I'm on the roll. Okay, good.
The other question I have is there something that we can see as the parents that Sisolak has written this down as a law for our school? Is there paperwork or something that he has signed that says this has to be the law? And if there is, can it be provided to us? That's it.
Thank you, Rochelle. And the last sign up I have here right now is Jason. Amy? Jason? Please go ahead and state your name for the record, sir.
Yes, Jason Chee. My wife Lana just spoke and I have to change what I was gonna say, so I thought she was fun and cool stuff. She got all serious. But I do have a couple of serious things. I'm a former local police officer. So I was working when COVID started. I was actually tasked with doing the PPE preparedness for our department. So I was communicating directly with our county's health board and was communicating directly with CDC. The mask thing that everybody's been talking about is completely true. The only mask that you can wear that will protect you from this virus, sort of wearing a full SCBA, is an N95 mask. And for anybody who's worn one, you got about 15 minutes before you're choking on your own carbon dioxide and you can't breathe, you're sweating, it's nasty. We have 4 kids in this district, and I don't know if anybody else, parents, have noticed this year. I didn't start thinking about it until we started talking about the masks. All 4 of our kids have come home from school with chronic headaches all last year. The only thing we're dehydrated, drink some more water. Kids were peeing every 15 minutes and they were still coming home with headaches. The only common denominator is a mask. It's not helping anything, guys. It's a farce. It's BS. It's out there. It's been put out there. All the emails everybody has found, it's there. When we're talking about guidelines and recommendations from the CDC, they're just that. They're guidelines and recommendations. It's not a law. It doesn't say that's what you have to do. If you read some of CDC's recommendations, don't eat rare meat. Anybody like their steaks medium rare? No. There's a recommendation not to eat Caesar salad dressing because it's got raw eggs in it. Anybody like a Caesar salad?
Absolutely.
I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we're dealing with. These are CDC recommendations. If you go through and look, we all should be dead if we're using the CDC's guidelines as rules for our health and our children's health. That said, in closing, you know, we've talked about this the last couple of weeks, and we heard this too. I really agree with everybody that my kids' overall well-being is much better when they're in school with their friends, with their teachers. Our kids missed their teachers on the days they had to do distance learning. They missed their friends, but when this mask mandate went away, what do you think all of our kids were doing all summer? They were together, they were playing, they were at my friend's house, that friend's house. And guess what? I still don't understand the numbers that are so critical that we're in a red state for our, it just doesn't make sense. And I know, obviously, and I know that a lot of you agree. It doesn't make sense, and we should stop doing it.
Yes.
Thank you, Jason. No, was it Jason? Thank you, Jason. Lost my place. And the last person I have that is signed up is Kira, and then we'll go back to online.
My daughter.
Could you go ahead and state your name and maybe go ahead and spell it?
My name is Kira McGowan, Keira. I'm just starting off with, how are we supposed to see a teacher smile? Like, if there's a kid's feelings got hurt, how are we supposed to see that? With the mask, it's not really doing any help. They're just, if one of our friends is heartbroken or if they can't express their feelings, we only see eyes right now. We can't see that they're crying or anything right now.
Thank you, Kara, for being so young and so brave and speaking. Okay, we're going to go back to if there's anyone with their hands raised. John?
Yes, I have four. I'm gonna go with Todd Booth.
Cool. You know, Todd. Hey, Todd, go ahead and state your name for us, please.
Hi, guys. My name is Todd Poth, Douglas County resident. I've got 3 kids.
Hang on, Todd.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Sorry.
Okay, did you hear me before? I thought I unmuted myself.
All we heard was your name and 3 kids.
Okay, so I have 3 kids. One of them is going to be in 2nd grade and 2 of them are going to be in preschool. My middle daughter is a high-risk individual, so we've been wearing masks pretty much everywhere. I know that makes me very unpopular in that crowd, but that's okay. I think we can all be adults and realize some stuff going on. I got to say, I'm extremely excited seeing this board meeting tonight. The passion of the parents talking about stuff that is really important to them about their kids. And I do not dismiss what they have to say. I think it's extremely important that they do everything they can to, as far as they're concerned and we concerned, protect their kids. And everyone should. However, what I also notice is that this passion is misrepresented. They should be taking this to Governor Sisolak, to the government. You guys as a school board are elected officials and there are laws you have to follow. And whether you agree with them or not, those are kind of laws you have to follow. And there's a lot of things hanging over that. And so I would hope that these parents and everyone who's there, and while I disagree with them, I would hope they would take their arguments to someone who could actually make a difference. Go to the governor, go to the Senate, go to the state Senate, make a plea for what you want to have happen. But to come to the school board and give you guys the problems that you're giving us, it's not fair. This is not your decision. And I feel sorry for you guys because you're in a very, very tough situation. I appreciate you guys and all the work you did last year to keep the schools open. We had in-class schooling. Now, I couldn't send my kids, but we had it. That was amazing. Great job all the way around. And Keith Lewis, for your first year as a superintendent, you deserve serious props for that and the amount of work you had to do. I think the school board has done an amazing job. I appreciate everything you do. I hope that people can take these arguments to people that can actually make a decision and make a difference. And I also hope that cooler heads prevail. And we think about you guys doing your job and doing what you have to do and realizing that sometimes there's only so much you can do. Thank you for your service. Thank you for the work you've done. And for those in the audience who are totally anti-mask, please go talk to someone who can make a difference.
Thank you. Thank you. I should go. Thanks, Todd. Okay. Thank you, Todd. For your comments. Okay, who do we have next?
We have Katie Kent.
There we go. Katie came back. Hey, Katie, can you go ahead and state your name for the record, please?
Can you unmute, Katie?
Is that star 9 sheet right here on your phone?
No, she's not logged in on the computer.
Oh, okay. There's a little unmute button that you need to hit. You can find that. I have a red line through it.
There she is.
Get it? Dang it.
No, she didn't.
Okay.
We have Jose.
Okay. We'll
And
move
the
on.
last name.
Jose, you're next to speak. Could you go ahead and please state your full name for us?
All righty, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jose Guerra. G-U.
I'm sorry, I talked over you, Jose. Sorry. Can you go ahead and state or spell your last name?
Last name is Guerra, G-U-E-R-R-A.
Thank you very much. Go ahead. You can speak.
All right, I'd like to start off by saying that I'm gonna use all 3 minutes of my time. I'm not gonna make a great point or be super eloquent, but I am going to take up as much of your day as possible. Why would I do that? It sounds super mean, right? Well, it's my act of civil disobedience. If you guys can't vote on this today, then I feel like I've gained something. If you have to wait until tomorrow to vote on this, it's at least one tangible thing that you as a board earn for bringing this problem to us parents here in Douglas County. I can't believe that we have to ask you guys to stand up for freedom. These masks, as it's been said before, don't make a tangible difference. The only masks that would be the N95s. But what you're doing is jeopardizing the health of our children. Jeopardizing the health of our children because you're afraid of losing funding from a state government that has made Douglas County their target. We've been on the governor's radar for quite some time, especially after hosting Trump at the airport. But we ended up winning that fight. We got fined, we fought it, and we won. I'm asking you people today to stand up to the governor and make masks an optional thing. If there's people out there who are high risk, there's people out there who feel it's in their best interest to wear a mask, then they should have that right. But then those people who don't think they need it, who know they don't need it, who are harmed by wearing them, should not be forced to wear them. Because I'm online, I get to watch everybody's faces. I get to see everybody. And I'm kind of noticing that there's some pretty significant nonverbal cues. I don't believe that everyone here on the board is on board with the parents. A lot of people are aloof. A lot of people are distant, closed off. You know, it just goes to show that some people think they're not going to face an election. You will face an election. Wait for election day.
Thank you, Jose. Don, who do we have next?
And we have Amber Minor.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, honey, can you go ahead and state your name, please?
Yeah, it's Amber, last name Minor, like underage. So Jose beat me to it. I'm seeing some body language on this as well. And Trustee Lehman, I'm seeing you swiggle around and doing a little laughing and wiggling, and I think that's unacceptable. To everybody that's out in that crowd, I commend every single one of you for being there and standing up. And to all the board, you're not invincible. There will be elections. You could be voted out, and look at all the constituents that are sitting out there that will vote you out. So people, stand up, be there for your kids, support your kids, protect your kids, and everyone have a fantastic night.
Thank you, Amber. Next, John, is there anyone else?
That's all I have online.
Okay.
Not seeing any others.
One hand might have just.
I have one telephone number. So, okay, ending in 2866. You'll need to unmute your telephone. And you can talk, and I believe it might be *6 to unmute.
*9, right?
*9, raise your hand. *6 to unmute.
Oh.
I have a question.
Could you go ahead, please, and state your name for us so we know we're talking to you?
Yes, my name is Jessica Harmon. And I have a question. How do you know with the kid wearing a mask if they're kidnapped or not by them walking to school? You don't know if they get kidnapped because they're wearing a mask on their way to school. How do you know if they're not being hurt at home when they're wearing a mask on the bus to school or when they're at school? Not to mention, I have a child that has a heart defect, a low immune system. He asked me not to let him not wear a mask to school because he doesn't want to feel different from everyone else. How do you as a parent explain that to your child? Because there are numerous children that stayed home to do the online and asked their parents to go back to school, and we let them, and they don't want to go back to school wearing a mask because they feel different. I understand Keith can't do all this and we need to go to the governor, which we've already done, but it comes down to our district too. We have to stand up for our kids and what is best for them. They're breathing in stuff they should not be breathing in. That is not okay for these kids, especially the ones who should not have to wear them but feel different if they don't. And I believe 100% these masks do not help our children. I have family members that work in the medical field. They do not help whatsoever. Unless you're wearing the N9 mask, that is the only one that'll help. So are we going to get all these for the kids? Is the district going to help provide these for these kids every day? Because they're going to need a new one every day. As I was told by people that work in the medical field. And if we go back to mask, we've already done DNO. And my son was supposed to be doing speech and did not have his speech teacher on there 95% of the time. One day he was on there online waiting for her. Nobody showed up. I will not go back to DNO or district if we have masks. I will fight for my kids.
Thank you, Jessica. Any more comments?
And that's all the hand raising on
I have a question.
Yeah.
Just, I want to know if I can say one more thing at my place sign up. No? I just want to know, if you guys can't make a difference at this level, why are you voting on it?
All right.
But I want to
One thing
respond.
I forgot to add to mine too, all the Christian schools in this area are full. They will not take any more kids because of all the kids from the districts that are down in there.
Thank you.
If that was an answer to one of your solutions, that's not available.
Okay, at this time, public comment is closed. And so,
I was from the list and.
What's your name?
Kate McGee. I was probably about fourth or fifth off down.
Did I miss you?
No, I said I was.
Oh, you said you didn't want to
I was
speak.
your support and I
Right.
have one quick thing to finish out.
If you'd like to, because you haven't spoken, we'll go ahead and come up here and we need
Thank
to
you. I love talking in front of people. Okay, I'm a professional speaker.
So
My name
go-
is Kate McGee. I
Thank
just
you,
have
Kate.
one quick thing to say because you broke my heart. My son doesn't have friends because he can't sit by anybody on the bus. It's not just about our children, you guys. It's about their future and how they can, when they're older and communicating like we are, if we mask them up now, they're not gonna know how to associate with others.
Thank you, Kate. Okay, this time public comment is closed. We're gonna bring it back to the board. If the board has any questions, I think, or comments. Before we go, trustee Magnata, go ahead.
Remember this name, Tony Magnata. Remember that. You elected me. I hear you. I am totally against wearing this diaper. It does no good. It does more harm than good. And every one of you sitting here with a mask on should be ashamed of yourself. I'm mad. I am mad. You elected me.
Candace, it's not funny.
And I'm gonna say this. I have a sign on my truck that says, "We the people are pissed off." And that's the way I feel. I am against the mask. We should be against the mask. It's hurting our children. It's gonna cause them more problems than good. So let's stop it right here.
Yeah.
Let's stop it.
All right, thank you. Doug, you have your hand up. Would you like to speak? Thank you.
Yeah, I have my hand up. First of all, I want to say I'm sorry I'm not at this meeting. It looks like a good place I would have liked to have been. I'm at a family memorial celebration in Michigan. Having said that, I've listened to all the comments and from both sides and from our side that wants to be legal and everything. We signed an oath to defend the Constitution and the laws of Nevada. When those, in my opinion, are not in agreement, I go with the Constitution every time. I believe our founding fathers signed an oath to support English laws too, and then they signed the Declaration of Independence. We took an oath to support our students, and I firmly believe that the masks are not healthy, and I don't think they're helping. They hurt our students in more ways than they help, if they do help at all. And so if we're supporting our students, then I can't support mandatory masks. Volunteer, sure. Mandatory, no. I was also elected to support the citizens of this community, and I think I'm hearing you loud and clear. So I cannot support a mandate that requires wearing of masks, especially for students, really for the whole school. But I would go along with requiring masks for staff and teachers, but certainly not for students. That's all I have to say.
All right, thank you, Doug. I think this time we're gonna go bring this to a vote. A motion was made by trustee Lehman, it was seconded by trustee Kangas. So we'll go ahead. Yeah, or is there any more comment from the board? Nothing?
Could you repeat the motion?
Sure. Karen, could you repeat that for us, please? Thank you.
Mr. Lehman made a motion to approve the plan as presented, seconded by Mr. Kangas.
I can't hear you.
Mr. Lehman made a motion to approve the plan as presented, seconded by Mr. Kangas.
Interesting.
What was the plan?
Oh, gosh.
What's in your folder, Tony?
What's in your folder that Superintendent Lewis presented the slideshow? That was it. Okay? Yes, okay, hold on 1 minute. Hold on 1 minute. Trustee Lehman has something to say, go ahead.
I think this community is really disappointing on a lot of levels. We as a board have unanimously said we want local control. We as a board have unanimously said we don't want to send our kids back with masks. 7 out of 7 people said that. Sent the letter to the governor. He ignored us. We wish he wouldn't have done that. We wish he would have given us local control. But he simply didn't.
Stop justifying yourself.
There were a few things said here today that are just wrong. One of them says, if it's the law, then we'll all be under arrest. That's wrong. Laws are enforced in many different ways. Some laws are enforced by arrest. Some laws are enforced by the IRS. Some laws are enforced by OSHA. This is not a law that's going to be enforced by arrest, but it is a law that's going to be enforced by OSHA. At least that's what they've been doing so far. At least that's what they've been doing so far. And that's, you know, they come in and they find people.
Please let him speak.
It's been said that the masks are only a recommendation by the CDC. That's absolutely correct. I agree with you 100%. It is only a recommendation. Unfortunately, the governor took that and turned it into a mandate. When it was a recommendation from the CDC, and the recommendation came from the CDC earlier than the mandate, we said, thank you for the recommendation. We're not going to follow it. That's what we did with the recommendation. The clarification about money. There's been a couple people that have said that it's about money for us personally, and that's where we took exception. Is that it's not about us for money personally. It absolutely is about money for the district. For all of you who want to know, we make $400 a month for what we do. Okay. We are the representatives of the community. We didn't get hired by the superintendent. We didn't get hired by the district, right? I've ran for election twice. I've been opposed 0 times. Nobody's run against me. So come and run. If you guys want to have say, come and run. That's a great thing. That's a great thing. Happy to have more people run. Happy to have more people have their say. I would love to fight the governor. I don't feel like we have the ability to do so for 2 reasons. One, we have agreements with our employees. The head of the teachers union just today sent us all an email representing the teachers union saying, keep masks in place. Okay? Those are the teachers, right? Take your fight to the people that want it. You're taking the fight to the people that don't want masks. We don't want it. There are people that do. Take your fight there. I am happy. We have the person here who started the Facebook thing. Yeah, thanks for doing that. Let's start a GoFundMe and fund legal support. I'll give you my $400 for the next year. right? I'll do that. You guys want to step up and fund that? Step up and fund that, right? That takes money too. It all takes money. I've got 3 kids in the district. They don't want to go back with masks. I'm specifically terrified. I took my family on a trip this year and we went someplace where masks were required. We were there for a little over 2 weeks. We came home and my daughter didn't want to take the mask off because she was afraid. And that scared me. That scared me. Like, no, you're okay. Take your mask off. So I don't want masks as much as anybody else, but I'm not going to put the district in a situation where we can get sued, where we can get grievances by our associations and our unions, and where we can get our finances pulled from us. I'm happy to join anybody to take the fight to where the fight needs to be. I'm happy to join that.
Thank you, Trustee Lehman. Okay. Anybody else?
I just need a comment too.
Yes, Trustee Jackson.
I agree with Trustee Lehman. We all agree we don't want masks. But when I look at what the plan that the superintendent has brought forward, I see things that I didn't see last year. I know several of you, and I know you through athletics. We missed out on athletics. My son missed out on his senior track season, and he will never overcome that. It has destroyed him. He's so sad. My next son was graduated last year. My son that was a freshman probably got to do any. In this plan, there's athletics, and we can all go watch their games. There's no controls over how many people can be there. There's no controls on any.
What do we tell our 6th grader who's bawling on the way to school or that she can't go? What do we tell them?
I know.
I would ask that you give us the same respect we gave you. We did not comment when you guys shared your comments. We would love the same respect. And that's something I have
tell our
trouble
kids.
with. So, but what I want to say is I'm nervous if we go against the directive of what can come back. And if they take away the sports for my children, the opportunity to be at the school.
Sports for mental well-being.
Okay, thank you. I'm done. I'm done. Never mind. That's fine. Thank you, Trustee Jackson.
I have a legal question. State of Nevada, Executive Department, Declaration of Emergency Directive 047. Is this legal?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is what our governor sent us. Do I like our governor? Hell no. I don't like our governor because he's ruthless. And everybody here are good people. I visited almost every one of our schools. We have great schools, great teachers, great people here. But this mask thing is wrong. But you the people need to take it to the government. We have this here executive order that he said is legal. We can't violate the law.
Let's all do it together.
Let me explain where it comes from.
Okay. I know.
The
Can you take off your mask so we can understand you?
Gladly.
Thank you.
So the legislature passes laws, right? What the legislature did is they passed NRS chapter 414, which is emergency management. And what they did is they delegated to the governor powers to take control over what's called emergency management. Emergency management is super broad. And it gives the governor plenary control over every aspect, any and all aspects of what the
Arrest
language
him. Called tyranny.
It is called tyranny, but that's what the legislature did. So what he has done is then gone through a series of directives. And so therefore, Emergency Directive 47, there's they started at one. Probably started at one, but it started, and all he's doing is making the rules up. And unfortunately, that has the power of law because the legislature is what delegated that power to him.
So what happens when we don't follow that law? The school district shut down?
Well, As you've heard today, there's been threats to withholding 91% of the funding.
And they all have the unemployment line like the rest of the world last year.
Is that how they're?
But that's how they enforce it are several ways. Actually, in the directives themselves, OSHA, the governor's directive said OSHA has the power to enforce these directives. So OSHA can come in and they can issue fines. The first fine would be $9,000. Everything after it, 9,000, 9,000, 9,000, 9,000. So OSHA can come in.
Just like everyone else has one against every other OSHA.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've seen it in the private sector, OSHA fines. I had a McDonald's, a client, fast food restaurant, who had 2 employees come in, they walked through the door, and it's on camera, they walked through the door, clocked in, put their masks on, and OSHA gave them the highest maximum fine. So that is the risk, those are the things that we're dealing with, which is the risk. So that is the legal analysis of why this is legal.
If we keep succumbing to it, they'll keep doing it. That's the whole point. It will never stop. You guys know it'll never stop. It
Is
has
there
to
anyone
stop
else on the
somewhere.
board that would like to speak?
No, hold that question.
Trustee Kangas?
I apologize to you, and Mrs. Kangas. I do apologize because you thought I was laughing. I was worried for Tony's health, because Tony's he's got his badge on. I don't want this either. Truly don't. I mean, I don't, my school's closed.
Right, well, tell us.
That is the threat.
We'll write the checks. Grassroots, baby, let's go back. What's important?
Well, I'm just trying to keep our schools open for now, so I'm just trying to explain.
I mean, I'm getting ready to pay
I'm
my
gonna vote
taxes
for that.
today. I give $1,500. Do I need to give $1,500, $5,000, $10,000, $50,000? What do you want? I'll write the check.
All right.
I have a legitimate question
Okay.
for Mr. Lehman.
We can't do that, I'm sorry,
Well,
we
you
can't.
said to fight the teachers union.
can't.
How do you fight it?
We can't.
You represent us.
Okay, we're gonna
We
go ahead
elect you.
now.
How do you do
I'm
it?
sorry, I'm not trying to be rude,
Well,
but we are going to go now, and there was a motion made,
Tell us what
a
to
second, so we're gonna bring it to a vote. Are we ready?
Yep.
Trustee McDonough and Jackson and Engelkirk. All those in favor, to support the motion that was made, support bring forth the recommendation, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so we have the motion passes.
Good job, Tony.
The motion passes 5-2. Thank you. Meeting adjourned. Sorry. I can't adjourn. One more thing, sorry. I apologize. We have one more public comment. But it's not on here, I'm sorry, it's put on. So we do have one more, right? Do we have to?
No, we're good.
Okay, meeting adjourned, sorry.